Welcome back. The Anambra State Governor Willie Obiano is inviting Anambra indigents in Lagos to be part of the development of their home state by participating in the forthcoming governorship election on November 18th. At this year's edition of the Anambra Cultural Day celebration in Lagos, held at the National Stadium Surulere, the governor reeled out achievements of his administration while soliciting their support for his re-election.
Home, they say, is where the heart is. For these indigents of Anambra State, resident in Lagos, the Anambra Cultural Day celebration is indeed a time for reunion and a time to freshen their memories of happenings back home. And who best to bring them the good news other than the #1 citizen of the state, Governor Willie Obiano. The rousing reception given the governor gives a sense of acceptance and appreciation. Governor Obiano reciprocates the feeling as he shakes hands while making his way through the practice pitch section of the National Stadium in Surulere. The governor makes a spirited sprint to the podium where he tells the people about ongoing development projects across the state.
We flagged up the Airport City project, and the Chinese are on ground working now. That airport will be delivered in 3 years. I have also told you that we are doing very well in agriculture, and we have room to employ some of you that are here that are not doing something very good. This administration has, in less than 3.5 years, employed well over 330,000 people on various jobs created.
Men, women, and youth from over 179 communities in Anambra State showcase various aspects of their culture through music, dance, and their native attires. If the large turnout of people is anything to go by, the governor can rest assured that he has some support for his re-election bid here.
He's everything every state should be looking for in a governor. And quite frankly, I am not even from Anambra State, I'm from Imo State. But we need a governor like Obiano in all the states, especially Imo State and Abia. And we know after his re-election, which of course is assured, our party, All Progressive Grand Alliance, will move into other states. So we're going to expand even westward down to Lagos here.
As the farm fair continues, the governor appeals to them to be home for the November 18 governorship poll, to join him in realizing his goal of consolidating his administration's development drive.
The Development Bank of Nigeria has signed partnership agreements with some participating financial institutions at its headquarters in Abuja. With the agreement, entrepreneurs will now have greater access to favorable loan facilities from participating financial institutions to establish and expand their enterprises as part of efforts to enhance job creation in the country. The Development Bank of Nigeria was established by the federal government with an initial takeoff fund of $1.3 billion with a mandate to offer low-interest and longer-term loans to small and medium-scale enterprises in a bid to expedite growth in the Nigerian economy. Our correspondent, Ajuri Ngalale, reports.
It is a busy Monday morning in the nation's capital. Administering $1.3 billion in loan facilities to Nigeria's small and medium-scale businesses is no small task. And this busy morning just got busier as Managing Director of the Development Bank of Nigeria, Tony Okpanachi, welcomes CEOs of banks who will facilitate loan distribution to Nigerian businesses. With little time to waste, the partnership is made a formal one. Offering low-interest loans with tenors of up to 10 years, the DBN's chief executive says Nigerian business lending will never be the same again.
The Nigerian economy is powered by MSMEs, however unstructured. The activities within this segment account for over 50% of Nigeria's GDP. However, less than 5% of these businesses have access to credit in the financial system. Statistics show that there are over 37 million MSMEs in Nigeria. However, regardless of the number, many of these businesses still struggle with access to adequate financing, starting off by the national.
Participating financial institutions, also known as PFIs, say that the newly streamlined role of government in lending will yield dividends for business developers.
So this is something that we should take advantage of if we are serious about industrialization and economic development, because you don't build castles in the air. You have a pyramid, the bottom of the pyramid. You start laying the foundation. When the foundation is faulty, nothing happens. And thank God for the arrival of the Development Bank of Nigeria, because it is that foundation, the strategic alliance, that is very crucial, that is being put in place today. And with us in partnership, I think we want to get to where we want to get to.
In some form, progress always demands partnership. And on a busy Monday, these banking executives partner to close financing shortfalls, confronting the development of small and medium-scale enterprises in Nigeria. Ajuri Ngilali, Channels Television News.
Here with more from the world of business is Emana Amawe.
You first. First Bank.
Hello and welcome to Business News. As part of efforts to ensure sustainable economic growth and development in the Nigerian capital market, the Securities and Exchange Commission has launched the Nigerian Capital Market Development Fund. At the inauguration ceremony of the board in Abuja, Director General of the Commission, Mr. Muniru Gwozo, explains that the initiative aims to boost investors' confidence. The former Director General of the SEC, Mr. Suleiman Danusa, tasked the Committee on Financial Inclusion.
It's part of the 10-year capital market development initiatives that we said we're going to implement. Objectives of the fund. Largely, it's aligned with our market development initiatives, and I call upon all of us to strongly support such initiatives.
The primary purpose of establishing the Nigerian Capital Market Development Fund, as said earlier on, is to fund relevant market development initiatives that will spur growth of the market and the Nigerian economy. Equally, the fund seeks to facilitate the introduction and proper understanding of new products to deepen the market, provide capacity building to tackle emerging challenges, and create an industry-wide synergy through partnership with government and non-governmental agencies and corporate bodies with similar objectives.
In the meantime, equities at the Nigerian Stock Exchange closed in the green territory on the first trading day of the week, driven by gains in banking sector. Here's Chimezie Obiwagu with the summary.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Report. It was a dramatic move at the equities markets today as the all-share index, after moving in the red for the better part of the session, suddenly reversed into the green just a few minutes to the close of trading. The all-share index went up 0.06%. The 7.25 Naira gain by Total and the 2.07 Naira gain by Forte Oil are to be thanked for this positive close. Those gains also pushed the oil and gas sector into the green by 0.06%. Despite that positive move, market breadth remained negative. 17 stocks posted gains while 21 posted declines. In terms of price movement, Dangote Flour topped the gainers, moving its price by 10.19 Naira, while Morrison led the price decliners. The market made a paltry 2 billion naira with a total volume of about 175 million shares traded in 3,401 deals. Traders are still pessimistic about the direction of the market on Tuesday, but say that the 50 naira interim dividend announced by Nestle, hopefully that might provide some support for the consumer goods, which is expected to impact positively on the overall market index. And that was the Stock Market Report. I'm Chimezie Obiwagu.
The Bank of America has estimated an outflow of $14 billion from South Africa if the country's rand debt is kicked out of the Citigroup's World Government Bond Index. According to a Bloomberg report today, Africa's second largest economy may lose its investment grade status on November the 24th when Moody's Investors Services and the Standard & Poor's are scheduled to review the country's rating status. Standard Chartered PLC is forecasting that almost $10 billion will leave South Africa if it's kicked out of the WGBI and the Bloomberg Barclays Global Aggregate Index. Nigeria was kicked out of the JP Morgan Government Bond Index exactly 2 years ago and was later removed from the Barclays Bond Index. And major markets across the globe closed mixed today after a report on the U.S. House surfaced on considerations to gradually lower the United States corporate tax rate. Here are some of the numbers. And that's business news tonight. I'm Emana Amawe. It's back to you, Amarachi.
You first. First Bank.
Thanks a lot, Emana. The federal government has approved a contract worth $195 million for the procurement of maritime security equipment and for the training of military personnel. According to the Minister of Transport, Rotimi Amechi, purchase has already commenced in that regard. Mr. Amechi told a gathering in Lagos today who converged for the World Maritime Day that there are plans also to begin in earnest the movement of cargo from the ports using the light gauge system of transport.
It's perhaps one of the single largest gathering of members of the maritime and transport sector. Regulators, agencies, investors, parliamentarians and experts who have converged on Lagos for the 2017 World Maritime Day, a United Nations initiative towards growing the world's economy through the waters. Top on the day's agenda is the various downsides to Nigeria's developmental goals for the maritime domain, which borders on security, infrastructure, funding, poor utilization capacity of the inland waterways, legislation, and political will.
We have contracted an Israeli firm who is going to train our security men and buy the equipment, and they will dominate the waterways for 3 years. In that 3 years, they will train our people to take over when they finish. And I'm sure that in that 3 years, once they launch, they are yet to launch. They are yet to launch because they are buying the equipment. When you see the equipment in the water, you know you use it and you are secure.
We need to fast-track utilization of inland waterways rail to reduce the weight on our roads. We also want to see conveyance and movement of people using inland waterways. So people that work within the Apapa environs have inland waterway as a way of getting into that location.
Nigeria is said to have about 900 kilometers coastline and over 10,000 kilometers inland rivers. So why does most cargoes come to the already congested Lagos port?
The really big vessels can't come into Port Harcourt port. Now look at the infrastructure in Port Harcourt port. It requires that we look at it again. Now, aside from that, there's been security challenges around the Niger Delta. So we're addressing the issue of security challenges in Niger Delta. We're addressing the issue of draft. We're addressing the issue of physical regime in those ports. We're addressing the issue of the link between the port and the hinterland where the goods are needed.
State inland waterways authorities and their federal counterparts are constantly at daggers drawn. Who will build the court?
The courts of the land, from the High Court to Appeal Court and Supreme Court, are mandated by the Constitution to interpret the law. It is not government agencies like Lagos State or NEWA that will say this is what the law says. So now they are in court. Court has decided it is the responsibility of every citizen to obey the law. Experts have advocated that the blue economy, as it is referred to, is largely untapped, and until and when federal government remove all the bottlenecks, income and revenues accruable will constantly be washed away to other maritime domain. Olu Phillips, Channels Television News.
Still ahead on the news at 10, Super Eagles technical advisor Jeanot Raw calls up 24 players ahead of the qualifiers against Algeria and international friendly against Argentina. Stay with us.